Hey everybody, so today we're working with Drew Europa of Calligraphica's, which is definitely hard to spell. Her Instagram handle is Calligrafas, who is an amazing hand letterer. This is not her work, this is my terrible practice. So today we're going to talk about the great debate of calligraphy versus lettering or hand lettering. I am a calligrapher. I am not a hand letterer. And I laugh because my handwriting's so bad. It's so bad. Handwriting and hand lettering are definitely different than calligraphy. In my opinion, this definition varies quite a bit. And let's talk about that definition according to me. If I haven't met you before, hi, my name is Victoria. This is my studio behind me. I really need to move that dress form. It's kind of an ugly background. Hey everybody. Uh-oh, no audio. I can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Let's see. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay. Okay. Is anybody else really glad that those can you hear me now commercials are done? Those were annoying. Okay, so we're talking about hand lettering versus calligraphy definition according to me. And that definition does vary depending upon who you ask, and depending upon what they like to call themselves. So I'm a calligrapher, an artist and a calligrapher. I don't really do hand lettering, and the reason I don't is because I know I'm not good at it. I've tried, I've practiced. It's just not something I'm strong at. So to me, the difference between hand lettering and calligraphy is done with a pointed pen or a italics pen, block end, chisel tip, whatever you want to call it. Calligraphy pen. I don't necessarily consider fountain pens to be in that group, although if you're really good at writing with a fountain pen in Spencerian, I'm going to count that because it's too pretty not to. Handwriting is your everyday handwriting, what you do with a ballpoint pen, the style you grew up learning, for example. I know, I'm sorry you're missing the morning watercolor. I've been working on those freaking envelopes. I hate working on cotton envelopes so much. They're so incredibly slow. There are 6 on my floor and it took me like 2 hours. Okay, less than that, but still it took me much longer than normal, and it really tries my patience, and I gotta get this order done, so I am foregoing some of the more fun things in my life right now. Let's see, let me grab the stack. The question is, can we see them? There. This is what I've got so far. Not very many. Okay, so back to brush and calligraphy. Yay! Hi from Philly. You guys are like right over there for me. Hand lettering versus calligraphy is what we're talking about today. I'm a calligrapher, not a hand letterer, because I suck at it. If you have very good handwriting, you tend to be very good at hand lettering. You can also be good at calligraphy. If you don't have good handwriting like me, or you're just incredibly patient like me, hand lettering is not something I'm good at, strong at, or have any desire to become good at, because I know I suck at it and I have no desire to practice it. If I'm not interested in practicing, I know I'm not going to learn it. So today's video on the Modern Calligraphy Summit, we are day 7 now, is with Drew Europa. If you haven't caught her stuff, her Instagram feed is freaking awesome. And yes, the brush markers, we'll get to that in a second, Kelly. Her work, her lettering is so incredible, and that's why I know I'm not going to practice that much, because I'm just going to defer clients to her who are interested in it. There are better people than me out there, and it's just not something I really care to venture into. But I did practice this morning. It's really bad. Yeah, I just don't have the patience. See, my practice doesn't always help. I'm just much better with a calligraphy pen. It makes me slow down a little bit. I don't writing just typical letters. They just don't look that good. Her Instagram handle is Calligraphica's, Calligraphikas. Calligraphics. Yeah, LOL. Practice doesn't always help. Okay, so I've created, types of pens, so let's look at them. I never thought of using a Crayola marker until I watched part of her video that she had up before the before the Summit actually launched. These are little baby guys. I thought they were really cute. But yeah, you can get a thin and thick line with these. So this one up here, this green guy, that's written with a Crayola marker. I have a few other options here. I do have some brush pens. The brush pens are better for me. Like Kelly had mentioned, what about the brush pens? They're better because they're a little bit closer to calligraphy for me. But I still prefer a paintbrush to a brush pen. I have a little bit more control over it. That's just a personal preference. Yeah, the pipsqueaks, that's what these little baby ones are called. I thought that was so freaking cute, so I got them. Plus the box had way more colors in it. There's a whole bunch of colors, which I liked. Dropped my purple guy. I did do some work in these. I have a whole ton of these. These are my Ad Sharpak markers from design school. These are actually really, really tough to get off. When I'm using these regularly, my hands are just raw from popping off these lids. I've got this guy. I don't even know what it is. Do I use a paintbrush or water brush? I use a regular old paintbrush. I do have one of those brushes that store water in them. Let's see if I can pull it out. It is in the bottom of this somewhere, I think. Oops. No, it's not in there. Oh, there it is. Let's with my pencils. I have a couple of these guys. Do you go back back and forth on your downstroke to create the thicker line with the Crayola? No, you just tip it to the side and press harder. Here, I'll do one real quick. So using the Crayola, let me see if I'm on my extender or my regular Wi-Fi. I'm on my regular Wi-Fi, so this should be okay if you guys are having trouble. I hold markers different, especially because the pipsqueaks are so tiny. I do hold them funny. I mean, I guess I could hold it like this. This hits my hand funny because they're short, so I wrap my hand around it. So yes, Crayola, I'm actually a little impressed by. I never thought I could do that. I think calligraphy is kind of one of those situations where we don't think outside the box as far as, we don't allow ourselves to think outside the box. We think the rules are all very stringent and set in stone. So we forget that we can do things like good old-fashioned Crayola markers. Alright, here's a brush pen. Yeah, it's just not my fave. Let's see what else I've got here. It's actually very difficult to do one-handed. Let's see, we've got a thinner marker. That'll do it too. Same thing, by kind of leaning it over on its edge, you get that thin to thick. It's fun. I just don't like it. Yeah, it's just not my thing. I have a ton of markers, so I figured I might as well play. That was my page skipping because I only have one hand on it. So there's tons and tons and tons of different products that you can use. These are some of the ones that I already had, so I pulled them out. I've got a couple of the brush pens around here somewhere. Like I've got some of these prismatic ones. I mean, it has a nice texture to it. The prismatics actually have a really nice, smooth writing. I still prefer using a paintbrush though. Gotta say, even with playing with all these, I really want to find a black pen, brush pen that I really like, because I have been doing some brush lettering lately. But the markers, I think that's just one step too far for me. I just can't handle it. This one, this is a prismatic. It's a dual tip. It's got, well, I think all the prismatics are. It's got a brush on one side and a fine on the other. I think this is a warm gray or a warm black. Warm black. My Crayolas look different is the comment. These are the pipsqueaks. They're just baby ones. I just thought they were cute. They came in fun colors. They're just little. Nothing terribly exciting about them. I already got ink on myself somewhere. Big shocker. Oh, and then I scratched my nose. I probably have ink on my face now. Awesome. I do have a couple metallics. This is a metallic Sharpie. It's kind of fun. Yeah, I'm kind of just coming to grips with the fact that this is perfectly fine with. I'm a firm believer in find stuff you love and just delegate everything else or hand it off to another professional. So I will be delegating. If someone asks me for this style, I'm just gonna give it to someone else. So calligraphy, on the other hand, I define calligraphy as being with a calligraphy pen. That does not mean with a chisel tip gold marker that we used when we were kids. That is not calligraphy, despite what you think. Despite what you may think. Let's see, like this guy. That's not calligraphy. Yeah, with this, oh, that's not the right tip. With like the, you know what, which ones I mean, that shake up. They have to press a bunch of times to get them to flow. This was actually a really dreadful color. Here, let me show you this. So this one here is kind of a nice coppery worm. What the heck is that? Yeah, I hear you guys up north are getting some snow. We had snow in our forecast last week for later this week, but I think it was taken off. Question is, do I ever design tattoos? I do, occasionally. Question is there a particular beginner's pen you highly recommend for calligraphy? Not really. Reason being, everyone kind of starts at a different point. It depends on what you have access to. Personally, I had access to one of those calligraphy kits that has the one holder and the bunch of different nibs. Mine all were chisel tips, like for italics and Gothic and bookhand. And the last nib in the collection was Hunt 101, which is what I learned on. It was the first one. I literally tried every single nib. I'm trying to think of where I have some to show you. I think I have some in my carrying case. There you go. This is how I take my calligraphy places, like when I go to class or when I travel. Alright, so these are the type of nibs I started out with. They were terrible because I did not know what they were or how to use them. It was awful. But the last nib in a sample pack that I had gotten was a pointed pen, which was the 101, which I just got a bunch of there. There are these guys right here. So that's and fell in love with. It's what I practiced on, it's what I learned on, so I love that one. It's about a medium flexibility, it does have a nice fine tip on it. Another great one to learn on is a Nico or Nico G. The Zebra G is also good, or Browse Rose. Everyone kind of learns differently. It depends on what you can get locally or what you can order if you're in a different country. Sometimes you have a little bit more limitations on what you can get. I order all my nibs through John Neal Bookseller online. And as far as I know, they do ship to Canada, so you should be good. Other question was, what type of paper do I recommend for beginners? I started on printer paper because I wasn't scanning it in. I didn't know you could scan it in at that point. So I just grabbed a piece of paper and started practicing. Now that I know a little bit more about what's out there, I would suggest practicing on layout bond, which is, you can pick it up at a craft store or an art supply store, and it's thin, kind of like tracing paper, but it's not tracing paper. And you can put lined sheets underneath it and see through it real easily, so it's easy to learn how to write straight. Oh, I'm sorry, I had my chat turned off. How long have I been doing calligraphy? I have been doing calligraphy for 7 years. I just had my anniversary. I showed my first project that I ever did on our live webinar the other night, which is fun. I think I showed it on here too. I don't remember. Was that necessary? Or are we just being emphatic? So that's the difference between calligraphy and hand lettering. That's about it. Yeah, today's not super exciting day for me. I have a bunch of work to do. What nib do I use the most, and do I like working with the chisel nibs now? I hate the chiseled things. I don't really like the style. Let me block this person real quick. There you go. Did you get for being stupid? I prefer pointed pen, hands down, no question about it. I don't like the chisel tips. I did take a bookhand class last semester, and I mean, I kind of believe in cross-pollinating creativity and always continuing to learn. That's what was available from my teacher, so that's what I took. Didn't particularly like it. I didn't particularly dislike it, but it's not my favorite. My favorite nib is definitely still the Hunt 101. It's what I use the most frequently, but I have a whole battery of nibs depending upon what project I'm working on, because sometimes you want something that's a little bit more flexible for certain styles. Sometimes you want something that's a little bit more stiff if you're working with a difficult or textured paper. Right now I'm working on cotton paper, which is awful and terrible, and I don't really like it, but I have to have a specific nib for that, otherwise it just catches or it doesn't flow and it skips and it splatters and bad things happen. If you guys caught my Periscope the other day of me trying to figure out which nib to use, you know that. Can I demonstrate some sample writings and designs? I actually have in the past. I don't have it set up today, so I won't do it today, but if you check my past episodes or chapters, on Catch or YouTube, I'm sorry, I'm still kind of fighting that cold I had the other day. You can catch up on some of the things where I wrote live. YouTube doesn't have quite as many. My phone has trouble uploading them. Actually, I think it's YouTube has trouble uploading them. It gets right to the very end and then it's like upload fail. So I've been fighting with that this afternoon. Have I ever used a Zebra G with copper plate, or is that a no-no? There is no such thing as a no-no. You can use whatever pointed pen for whatever writing you want. And yes, I have several Zebra Gs. I use them fairly often. It's usually my second go-to after my 101. Someone asked if I use a flexible nib on cotton. No, not at all. The one I use on cotton is around here somewhere. It's now buried in my, there it is, all the stuff I have on my desk. This is the one I use. I don't have a hand to put behind it, I'm sorry. For my cotton. Yeah, I only have one hand, sorry. That's what I'm using on the cotton. It's not a nib I use very often, and I was getting really frustrated, but I know another calligrapher who loves that nib, and she loves writing on cotton, so I was like, I'm gonna try that one. I bet that one works, and it did. So I do have, here's all my envelopes that I'm working on this week. I did all the pink ones, they're done, working on the white ones. And then I have to go back and do all the return addresses, which you get entirely done with your order and then you have to flip them all over and do them all again. I usually ask the return addresses to be printed. This one just didn't happen. So anyhow. Alright guys, so I'm going to get back to work. Not a very exciting Periscope today, but I hope you learned a little bit about hand lettering and calligraphy and why I don't do hand lettering, because I'm not good at it. One question before we go. How much do I charge for a wedding invitation roughly? Do you mean an invitation or addressing the envelopes? Invitations. Excuse me. Because I'm actually a stationer and I own a stationery company, Design House of Moira, I do full production for the invitations. So invitations for about $125 for a flat print started about $2,300. That includes the design, the printing, the paper, any artwork, full 9 yards. Addressing is $4 an envelope. If you're my client, because I'm also designing your wedding invitations, you get a discount on the addressing. It's $3 an envelope because we're already working together, but I don't take on a lot of envelope projects. I am actually just about to institute a minimum for a project. I think I'm going to do it at 1,000, which is why I don't do tattoo designs anymore. And I don't take on too many logos either, unless they're a branding package, which I do a lot of, which I love. If you want to sit down and have your logo designed, we do your logo, your branding, and all of my logo design and branding packages also include business consulting. So we sit down and look at your market, target market, your current market, how your pricing falls, all that jazz, which is a lot of fun. So I'm just about to institute that price minimum. I think it's going to be at 1,000. So if it's a project under that, I'm going to refer to someone else, just to make sure that I give myself enough time in my schedule to do the things and the projects that I want to be able to do and I want to have time for. So Alright guys, any other questions for today? I'm going to pop off and you're welcome. Let's see. Oh, I do have an announcement later on for who won the quote contest. I wrote it down. Hang on, let me see if I can find it. I drew a cute picture. There it is. Okay guys, you'll see this on Instagram later, but just in case she's catching it, Lauren. Last initial O. I don't really want to say your whole name in public. But her quote was, "Beauty comes in all shapes and sizes. Small, large, circular, square, thin crust, stuffed crust, ... I had my boyfriend go through everything and tally them up and pick one out. So that's our winner. The project I'm going to be doing with it is a mug. I'm ordering a set of mugs with one of my favorite snarky quotes on it and hers, and another set that's going to be an artist set, which I'm so excited about. So I'm going to do that lettering. And Lauren will get one of the mugs that's created from it. So Lauren, if you're watching or if you catch this later, shoot me a message on Instagram. I'm also going to put it on Instagram if you don't catch it on here, and hopefully we'll connect. Anyhow guys, have a great afternoon. We're going to have another giveaway coming up next week for the other set of artist mugs that I'm doing. Oh, and a big hug for Monday. Mundog, where is she? Oh, she's sleeping. She's snoring. She's in the hallway. We're about to go on a WALK. I can't even say the word or she goes crazy. Alright guys, well have a good afternoon, and Lauren, hopefully you can hit me up here and we'll talk to you later. Think of questions, and tomorrow we're going to do a whole bunch of questions and I'll do some writing for you guys. Alright, bye, have a good day.